Hey, what's up, boss? It's your boy, Jason here. Today, we are going to talk about the Sykes-Picot Agreement. To understand the Sykes-Picot Agreement, we must go back to the past when the Ottoman Empire was collapsing. The Ottomans had been experiencing a slow and painful decline, and a lot of Turkish patriots absolutely despised it. So, like any normal person would do, they overthrew the Ottoman government, which allowed this guy, Enver Pasha, to come into power. Enver Pasha wanted to make the Ottoman Empire great again, and he blamed certain ethnic groups of being vile criminals. Where have I ever heard of that before? Anyways, Enver Pasha wanted the Ottoman Empire to become, and he wanted revenge against the Russians, who had grabbed him by the southern Caucasus during the 19th century. Coincidentally, Russia was busy fighting against the Germans in the war that didn't end all wars, also known as World War I. So, the Ottomans allied themselves with Germany and went to war. But then they all died in a snowstorm, because you should never, and I say never, invade Russia during the winter. Unless you want to end up like this guy, or this guy. Fast forward about 1.5 years to mid-1916, where there is no end in sight for the war. Britain and France decided to carve up the Middle East in advance for the anticipated victory against the Ottomans. They made a map like this. According to the map, Britain got Palestine, Jordan, and Iraq. France got Syria and Lebanon. Russia got Eastern Anatolia and Constantinople because they needed some warm water for their ships. And Italy was also promised some stuff. But the Italians never got anything in the final treaty, which is why Italy went from this to this. As you can see, they drew straight lines everywhere, and we all know how well drawing straight lines for borders are. The British representative at the meeting, Mark Sykes, even declared that, quote, I should like to draw a line from the E in acre to the last K in Kirkuk. They drew their borders with a ruler with no consideration of the various ethnic boundaries in the region. This redrawing of the Middle East also conflicted with promises to the Arab tribes that a single Arab state would be created. The Arabs were understandably angry about all this, but the Europeans simply brushed it off. After all, what's the worst that could happen?
One eternity later.
World War I is finally over, and the Middle East is divided up according to the Sykes-Picot Agreement. Because of this, tribes were split apart and put together with enemies. This caused ethnic tension, which was taken care of by the colonial overlords, but once the countries gained independence, all hell broke loose. Guess what time it is, kids? That's right, it's everybody's favorite, instability in the Middle East. Everybody was fighting everybody else. During all of this chaos, a certain terrorist organization appeared, and it took advantage of the situation. It quickly occupied major cities in both Iraq and Syria. Today, we know this terrifying organization as ISIS, or ISIL, or whatever you people say. I don't really care. In fact, one of ISIS's main goals is to reverse the Sykes-Picot Agreement. So that's how the Sykes-Picot Agreement is a current event. And as always, thanks for watching.